What's up, y'all? It's your boy Frank Sirius, a.k.a. Scooby the Godson, with another episode with my hometown. You gotta excuse me, I'm a little bit stoned.
You what?
With my guy, my partner in crime.
See, that's what I'm saying. But if you was like you said you would take your time. And like sometimes
That's why we got on glasses, man. It's a special show.
But you gotta let me start the show off sometimes.
Go ahead. You start the show off one more time.
Greedy, what you got, the munchies?
Nah, I may have the munchies.
You do?
It's that kind of show today.
That kind of show today. I'm Derek SiriusVybe Holmes, and together we are
SiriusVybe Primetime.
You didn't wait for me to say it with you.
Hey man, you gotta be up on the you probably had a little something else. Make you slow. Made you slow today. Yeah. You probably had some of that interca.
What is it?
Introvert. What is it?
You're right.
You gotta get that hybrid, man. You off that.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
you off that. Yeah.
Who we got on the couch?
You off that inspection, huh?
Who we got on the couch?
We have the lovely, beautiful, bright young lady named. I'm sorry, I'm still off that situation. We have the beautiful young lady, bright young lady, accomplished young lady, Dr. Chanda.
Doctor.
The DOC. Welcome to the couch.
Yes.
You gotta excuse our interview. We've been, we've been out back. You know what I mean? Because we knew you were coming. And your
Y'all
doctor
had to get it right, right?
had to get it right. Had to make sure we was in our element.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, make sure we was, taking it serious.
Take your time.
All right, let me take a deep breath. Ready?
All right, take your time.
Okay.
Good job.
Dr. Chanda, tell us what you're a doctor of.
I'm actually a cell biologist. I know that I sell cannabis, don't get me wrong, but I studied cancer at Howard for over like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been studying cancer, learned the medicinal benefits of cannabis, and brought it to our community.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So when you say brought it to your community, you like, where you sell it at? Up on Hobart or?
Not too far. Honestly, Hobart in Georgia is a little thing, right?
Okay.
But no, I'm actually at 1636 Connecticut Avenue.
Okay.
So I'm like an hour. Actually, I am 2 blocks from the DuPont Circle metro station.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm not too far from.
And that's a cannabis dispensary?
Dispensary, yeah. Y'all
That
come
is
through.
dope.
Yeah. You in prime real estate.
Oh, yeah. We doing it over there.
Okay.
We've been there for over 10 years.
Okay.
Is that why everybody up there walks slow?
I don't know if I can say that, but no,
Everybody's happy.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Come on through.
Yeah.
All you need to do is bring your ID. The laws have changed, so you could just come on and check out the dispensary. But no, it's been a good thing being over there for so long.
So you don't need a medicinal card or?
You get one right on site.
Okay, so I've heard, and you got to correct me if I'm wrong, I've heard that if you own the gun license, that you cannot get a medicinal license. So how does that work?
Actually goes from state to state. So you got to know what states that applies in.
Okay.
So each state is different. Like Maryland's different from DC, which is different from West Virginia, New Jersey. So it just depends. Now in Maryland, I think that is the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't hold a medical cannabis card and have a piece with you. A side piece with you.
Yeah, not that kind of side piece for all my players out there. So I mean, so what's your kind of like? What's your clientele?
Oh, we're mixed. We serve everyone though.
Being up on Connecticut Avenue, uptown is.
Yeah, we're in a mix of things. So we have a little bit of everyone though, but because we've been there since we were the originals, it was easy just to have a mixed combination. We also deliver, so anywhere in DC we can deliver to you. So we have just like all the services available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like get a delivery.
Yeah, it's
like Uber Eats.
Like
it's a little different than when we was in high school.
So what did you do in high school?
I mean, I dabbled a little bit in this, that, and the third. You know what I mean?
And the fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I'm curious about this because, it was taboo for so long. growing up. You know, it was something, you know, our parents always looked at it as, you know, even though they did it in the 70s and smoked reefer and all that, but when we came along, it was more so like, don't be smoking that stuff, you know, don't be smoking that junk, but now it's more accessible, it's more accepted.
It is.
So what is the overall consensus of the people that's our parents' age? You know what I mean? Like, you still have people that's 60 and 70.
They still got a problem with it. You know, it's different reasons. If you go into the predominantly white community, they don't have the same issues. But when cannabis locked away your son, or, you know, you were a single mom because your husband's in prison because he possessed cannabis, they're not going to be open to it. Right. Has nothing to do with the medical benefits of it. It has everything to do with the laws. If you get caught with it, that you go to prison. Okay. So our issues are not the same as everyone else's issues. It's been like hurting our community, but yet helping, because we don't have access to medical care like everyone else does. Right. We have access to cannabis, which you possess, you go get incarcerated. So, and black men are targeted. And that's why I'm in the industry where I'm in, because I'm like, that has to stop, period.
And some of the things that you do to, you know, fight that cause, let the people know.
It makes me a target.
Oh, really?
Right. So I'm a target with y'all. Yeah. I'm going to have to be like, y'all got to get in front of me and hold them back. But no, so we were able to get pardons for thousands, over tens of thousands people, and then Maryland 175,000 people pardoned with cannabis possession charges.
Wow.
So what that means is that we're not going to prison in certain states, and those prison systems are unoccupied, and people are losing money that invested in those prison systems. Right. So, you know, after the work that we've done for the last 10 years, it's helped our community stay out of prison. But unfortunately, right now they're using immigration to put other black and brown people in to make up those numbers. And the government is behind it 100%. Yeah. I mean, we got out the fields, don't get me wrong, but we went into a different type of slavehood or enslavement. Mm-hmm. And being in that enslavement, we were still like money was still being made off of our backs. Mm-hmm. And now we're really trying to get our freedom. And then what happens? You know, now we can't even work for the federal government and we live here. It's just crazy how we're constantly attacked like that.
So talk about what it costs, or what money is generated for the government per inmate.
Oh, over $130,000 per inmate goes into keeping them housed, in medical assistance, communications for phones, etc. That's a $40 billion business. Right. And so it's state contracts they issued out. Mm-hmm. And so if they're not making that money, the business is tanking. Who owns those businesses? Well, we know who owns it. Mm-hmm. It's just, you know, the master now. It's a different way. It's a corporate master. And the more we go and we break and disassemble those communities up, and we, you know, decriminalize cannabis, so you can't lock us up. But then that's like, how are they going to generate their money? So they have to find another way. So when you think about the states that haven't already have medical programs, or they don't have adult use programs, those are the states that are still using us to make money off.
Right. They got to fill up them beds.
They got to fill them up.
And so you mentioned that you said we help get people pardoned. Who is the we?
The we, it's a very select group. Okay. And I say that people who have access to the White House. So we meaning Congressman Troy Carter, myself, a couple of lobbyists. We went to the White House and talked to the Biden administration about this. And then within 6 months, they issued the first federal pardons. So for me, first of all, I was just like, I'm in the White House, Mom. I'm important now. I mean, that was an experience in itself, because it was like we went there with a former felon that had gotten locked up for possession. And then when they ran his name through the system, they were like, you can't come in here because you were a felon. He's like, but I got pardoned. That's what we're here to talk about. And it was like getting through all that security, getting to the building. Like, it was insane. But, you know, I was like, I must be important enough.
So a felon can't visit the White House.
You can't.
But he can live there.
Ooh, you loaded today.
That's crazy.
What's that indica?
That's that indica.
You gonna get us canceled?
Counsel.
I'm running.
Oh man, we gonna get a letter. We gonna email tomorrow.
Hey, well, we made it then, brother.
Yeah,
we made it. We made it. So that's dope though. First of all, let's give it up.
Yeah.
For getting tens of thousands of brothers and sisters part.
For that movement, you are major.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm curious to know, like, what do you feel is the next step? I guess with this new administration, how do you feel your work is going to be affected, or if it will be at all?
First thing that came to mind is like Run Joe. I mean, it's crazy. It's a different dynamic now. Like, I just feel like people are gonna get woke. You know, seriously, like the things that we've been dealing with and all this time. And it's not us because we've learned how to live in hard times. Right. We've been there before. We've been there most of our lives and we've gotten comfortable. But we know how to adapt back. The problem that I see is that there's a lot of people who are white that have not been in this circumstance. And I feel like they're getting, educated on what it really feels like to be oppressed. Right. And they're going to be the ones that have the power to change things. So, when you think about what power means, it means influence, it means knowledge and money. We have a little influence. We do. We have a lot of knowledge in our community, but we don't have the money. And so until we can really hone that economic, purse, that we don't have the power to make change, but they do. But they have to feel uncomfortable before they decide to unite. So we have to sit back and watch them do it. Now, do I believe that they'll do it? I do. I believe there was abolitionists that freed the black. I think there's a whole constituents of white people in community that doesn't like to see what's going on in our administration, but they got to feel it a little bit before they start to react. Yeah.
And in terms of the cannabis community in industry, talk about how, I guess, the disparities between white people, black people, brown people, and how they...
And women.
And women.
All of them. All of the above.
All the above.
Talk about the disparities and how, how it is to get started and, funding and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so if you think about cannabis licenses, they're less than 4% of minority owners, period. 4%? 4%.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes. 96 is not us. 96% is not us. And it's crazy. Even with the 4%, you can't get funding. Everything is like bootstrap. So you can only grow but so much because you really are just limited by the amount of money you have access to. And it is a $1 billion industry that we can't really benefit from, not only because we weren't allowed to participate. When I first started, I was the first African-American woman in a nation to have a license. The nation.
That's history.
It's crazy though, because I know many qualified people in our community that had the same education knowledge that could have did the same thing, but they couldn't get access to the program. So it's like a very limited amount that can actually get access to the program, and then even less that can actually participate in the program. So when you're thinking about that, it's like, when you see another black person, you're like, oh man, you got here. Like, it's nice to see you because we're just not here.
It's like when you make it off the plantation.
Oh yeah.
You see some
other
free blacks.
Oh yeah.
You want to seek them out and you want to give them that dap up. Like, brother, sister.
You're proud of them. Yeah. They made it. Yeah. They got out.
I don't know if that's the same, Scoob.
I mean,
well, you got to hype them up.
Because if you see them, you might want to say, all right, did you get off the right way? You don't want to be guilty by association. What if they out there and they ran away?
And they runaway slaves?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be
You're going to be in trouble, too.
back in there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So chill.
Best thing to do is help them.
Yeah.
Help them stay free.
wrong with you, man.
help me, help you, help me.
Something wrong with you, man.
I'm just trying to say, I look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did have a follow up with that. So with the disparities and everything that's going on with how does one get in today? Like if I wanted to say I wanted to be a part of this industry, like how do I get my license to either grow or have a dispensary or any kind of part of the business?
Well, Maryland just did an open call. And so they did it. They had a lottery and just let 200 people in getting licensed. So you got to watch out when they open up for applications.
And this is as a grower?
It's for everything. So
Okay.
Maryland just awarded for cultivation, manufacturing, dispensing, transportation, delivery, like all of it. And so 200 people won licenses here. And, you know, I salute Westmore for looking out to make sure that we're equally represented because in the past, we haven't had that same representation.
Okay.
So, but that 200 was statewide.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it goes by state. So I think the next to come on in this industry out in our area is Virginia. So Virginia will come on, and then you have to apply for it. Some applications are real easy, some aren't. DC just awarded, I think, over 100 licenses last year. Mm-hmm. So it's opening up. The question is how, you know, if you can afford it, one, or two, do you have the education to really run a business? Right. And that kind of tests you. Yeah.
Okay. So with the licenses, because I'm still a little confused, when you say it's one broad license to do all of that stuff, cultivating, manufacturing?
One broad application process.
Okay.
And then you apply for which license you want.
I got you. Okay.
So
you got to know what you want to do.
You got to know what you want to do.
Okay.
Because some people always say, I want to be a grower, but never grew anything.
Right.
Like, it's a misalignment there. Yeah. But you could grow it. You can make gummies or manufacture it. You could just sell it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and then you can deliver it to people's houses. It's really like what interests you. You apply for that license.
Right. So transporting it. Say if I want, that sounds like the easiest thing for me because I don't know nothing about it. Transporting it, is it like you need an armored car or armed security? Like, how's that work?
Well, you probably would want to. They found out you transporting, you were a target.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if they had the requirements, but
there is some requirements. Each requirement is different from state to state. So some of them require 2 people in the vehicle, GPS system, all kinds of security cameras, and then also lock down the product. Right. So, but transport and delivery are 2 different things.
Right.
Like transport is me getting pounds from a cultivation center, bringing it to manufacturing, or taking processed gummies and bringing them to the dispensary. Mm-hmm. So, but what we think about delivery is actually someone orders it online and then you bring it to their house.
Almost like Uber, DoorDash
exactly.
for weed.
And then is it limitations on that, how much they can actually order?
Typically, it's the limitations on the car. So if you have a car, you usually can't go over $5,000 worth of product.
Okay.
So it's, you know, you got to know the rules on how to do this. But it's real. Like, who would want to carry that much weight with them when you're going out, when you could be a target? Right. But everyone's registered. If you're online ordering stuff, they know who you are. They have reference on that. Like, you don't want to, like, then rob someone that has all your information. Like, So it's just, you know, the way the program is set up and the way the rules are, it's hard to really just be able to securely, like, breach that. Okay. So that's not an issue.
Okay.
And, you know, would you risk, you know, like possibly robbing someone for some grams when you can go, you know, get them for the same, you know, like that's not anymore.
Right. So the delivery guys wouldn't have as much as a problem
but
as a transport.
The youngins are
the YNs they don't care nothing about.
Yeah, they're not that bright.
It's about supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's about that.
How do you compete with the street market?
Oh, you really want me to give you my trapping secrets?
Nah, we ain't divulging no secrets. But I do understand that there's two different.
They are, but they're not.
Okay.
Remember, the legal came from the illegal.
Right.
So the demand of cannabis came from the illegal market, and then the government said, let's make it legal so we can make money from it.
Right.
Let's tax it. Let's make our money. So when you think about, like, you got to know your customer. You got to have that relationship with your customer. Like, your customers have to trust you and your product. So when I think about, like, what's my best signature is that no one can touch my product. I don't need to compete.
Okay, Frank Lucas.
Look, you can go around there and get that bush.
Yeah.
Go around there and get that bush on over there.
Frank
But
Lucas.
you'll be back. Go try that bush. Yeah.
You will.
Yeah.
You
Be
will.
back.
It's like, if you have been using cannabis your whole life, you know what the good stuff looks like. And not everyone has that. So my thing is, like, you have to have quality products so people want to come back and have that relationship with you. So that's what we do. And over a decade deep in, 7 states?
I was just about to ask
International.
that.
So 10 years in?
Oh, I'm over 10. I'm 12.
In
12
7
years.
states?
In 7 states.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
let's
crazy.
talk about the struggles in the beginning.
They were real.
They were real.
They're still real.
They're still real. But you're growing.
You're growing with it, but the regulations change overnight.
Okay.
Like, we can't predict what's gonna happen in each state. They're regulated by different people. So you're like, what happens here doesn't necessarily happen here. And so you got to keep your finger on the pulse of wherever you're operating. And I mean, that's a challenge in itself. It's like, you have to produce quality product. You got to manufacture good product, and then you got to sell good product, and then you got to follow the regulations and pay your taxes. Now, I would say every dollar I make, up to 70% can be 70 cents could go on to taxes. So you just depends on what state you're in. Like Maryland, they give you regular tax incentives on the state level, but federally I fall under the Al Capone law, which says that that's an illegal product and we're going to lock it down by taxing you the illegal price. So that's how Al Capone got prison, because he invaded that law, not that he evaded anything else.
Right.
Oh, yeah, tax evasion.
Yeah, it was tax, and so we have to pay our taxes. I mean, you got to pay to play in this game.
And that's more so when you're talking about going across state lines?
We can't go across state lines.
Okay.
And that's what makes each market different. That makes the regulations different from each market.
So does that deter the industry from working in those states?
Some states, but it also is an opportunity, because just think about it. If you had it going across state lines, we would all just give in to California.
Right. But that's
We
where all
wouldn't
the
have
growers
local growth. California would kill us. You know how much weed they produce?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's equivalent to more than what countries make. So if you think about the Pacific West, all that West Coast, Oregon, Washington State and California, they had everything locked down for over 2 decades.
Right.
California went legal in 97.
Okay.
Like, they're doing the thing. And basically, they keep up these state, borders so that they can't come into our communities and take over.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So let's rewind back to the day that you said, you know what? Give me a dispensary.
Especially with you having a bachelor's in this and a doctor's in that and associates in this. And got all kind of degrees.
Was it the cannabis that said, boom?
You must have got up hold of some good shit.
Y'all are crazy. No, it wasn't. It was like, I'm going to tell you, going from Friendly High School and then like oh, I got into Howard. You know, it was like one of those moments where you're like, all right, what am I signing up for? And then they're like, well, you got to pick a major. And I'm like, oh, I want biology. I'm gonna go into, like, I want to be a doctor. You know, you just think about all the things that you can become, and all of a sudden it became real. And when I got my first internship studying breast cancer, and I was like, wow. And I was reading, it was like, cannabis really helps. And I was like, they're just saying that.
That was in a brochure?
That was in the cancer research.
Okay.
Yeah, straight out of Israel.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And so I was like, I know we had cannabis in our community, but it never hit.
Right.
I just knew it was illegal. It was locking us up. You know, you got to try to break that, you know, that barrier to our success. If you can get out the hood, you can get out. And when I got to Howard, it was like, no, it really has a true benefit. So, like, the first thing I had to do was ask myself for forgiveness. And I say that because even as a mother, I would tell my kids, don't use that stuff.
Right.
And when I realized they're using it because nothing else was helping them, then I was like, damn, like, there is no pharmaceutical medicine that can compare to the benefits of cannabis for certain conditions, for certain diseases, certain ailments. Like, and I was like reading into it, understanding the science behind it. And I was like, this is some real stuff. And I'm a doctor in it, so I can philosophize to say, you know, this is real. And that's where my successes came from, because I can educate anyone on the benefits of it. And, you know, mental health, physical health, damn near spiritual health can come from the plant. And not all cannabis is equal. There's different strains, different categories and stuff. You got to find out what works for you in your situation.
Okay. So you can't just go down the block and be like, hey, let me get some of that Gorilla Glue for my cancer treatment.
You cannot. And Gorilla Glue is good for certain things, but not other. I mean, number 4 hit the limelight.
Yeah.
I mean, Skywalker, though, that was like, at its epitome, was pretty good.
Like all the weed smoked up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's weird to me too. Like, are they when they're making these strands, these different strands, are they thinking about the benefit of it, or are they just coming up with something innovative and then it happens to?
Is it both?
It's a little bit of both, because people want pain relief, and that's coming more so full body relaxation. That's an indica. So they're like breeding the plant to be heavier and heavier so that you don't have to take an opioid. Like, you don't have to take your codeine, you don't have to take your perk. You can actually use cannabis for that, and you don't get all the side effects and addiction from it. So it just depends on, you know, the grower. Some are very intentional, some of them aren't. Some of them are like, let's just take 2 things and see what happens, you know, and those strains cross, and this can be some powerful stuff there.
SiriusVybe. Got my brother Scooby, my brother Dirk. SiriusVybe. Hey. Hey. SiriusVybe.